Hello and welcome back to How to Connect with Humans. This was created by a beautiful young lady called Maia Taylor. And as far as I know and understand, they will tell me if it's not right. So Sarie Taylor, who is Maia's mom, is here as well. And Maia had an idea. And she had an idea. She went, Mom, can I do this? Can I start my own business? And she wanted to help other teenagers. And Maia was 13 at the time, if I'm right. And it was during one of the quarantines here in lockdown. This is now June 2021. So it was 2020 during the COVID lockdown. And so she decided that she wanted to help other teenagers that were probably struggling to be at home and with their self-esteem and feeling a bit low. So she came out with this wonderful idea, which I will open up in a little bit for you to see, which is called the little box of well-being. Sorry, you can't see Wayna. Now you can't see me. So the little box of well-being, and it was specially put together for teens, and it was all Maia's idea, and she created this, and it's so exciting to have you guys here. So hello, Maia and Sarie, how are you? Thank you for being here with us.
Yeah, thanks for having us. We're excited, if not a little nervous, some of us. Yeah, thank you for having us. It's all still quite new, really, because even though it was in lockdown, it wasn't until towards the end of the last one, really, that we'd been able to get it up and running and posted. And we did it quite quickly, but obviously we were trying to navigate homeschooling and things like that at the same time. So there was a lot going on. But yeah, Maia asked, when she first asked me, I was kind of like, oh, I've got a lot of work on. I don't know if I've got time to help with this. And she's like, please, I'll do it all. So I said to her, I remember I was in the bath and I said, she came in and I said, you can do it, but you need to go away. You need to come up with the idea and you need to show me that you really, you know what you're doing. And within 2 hours, she had the logo, the idea, and she's like, okay, we'll do it. Didn't we? So yeah, and then she came up with the idea and created them, and Granny helps with the packaging and the delivery.
Oh, it's a whole family business.
And Dad, we've all packed boxes, that's for sure. But it's mainly Maia and her granny that pack the boxes, would you say?
Getting jumpers for it.
Yeah, I said to her, she can get a jumper or a t-shirt with her branding on, and she said, you need to get Granny one as well.
So I guess what is so beautiful about this is that well, one of the beautiful things is that as soon as you managed to launch this, it sold out in the first 24 hours. Is that right?
Yeah.
A bit less, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like 12 hours.
12 hours.
12 hours, even less. 12 hours. You were out of boxes.
What's so interesting as a parent is, and what I find wonderful, being around the three principles, and in my job, I'm a psychotherapist traditionally, and came across the three principles. It's way of life for us now. It's why everybody in the family is aware of it. And I'm obviously, my limiting beliefs, I said, just make 30. 30 will be a lot at first. We don't want to make more than 30. She kept saying, Mum, that's not enough. We'll easily sell 30. And I'm going, I'm not sure. Anyway, they sold within the first probably half an hour. And then we ended up making a load more after that. And I was thinking, it's so interesting that, at her age, there's not as much of that limitation in her mind of like, oh, that's a lot. And she was like, no, Mum, we need to do loads more than that. And she was right, So we're making
100 this time.
Yeah, we're making 100 this time from the off. We're not wasting any time this time. We are fully going for it with the next selection of boxes.
Wow.
It's wonderful. And so I guess that that you had the idea, and then it came probably some things about what to put inside and whether you were going to have the right to put them in it or not, or was that a problem, or do you have to find somebody to design things?
Most products we just like looked for, and there was another girl that I met through social media, and she had her own little business, and she was like my age, so we like bought some stuff off her to put in the boxes and stuff.
Yeah, she tries to use things from other teenagers as well as much as possible to support other teenage small businesses. So the bath bombs, it was in the first one, were made by a teenage girl who started making bath bombs and selling them in lockdown. And then the actual information that's kind of all three principles based, I suppose, is
I wrote the thing about the taxis, the metaphor, and then we wrote the other thing together.
Yeah. She picks out metaphors that she likes that we've used at home, things like that. And she wanted, it was your idea, wasn't it, to do a theme on each box?
Yeah.
So
the last one was overthinking, and then this next one is it coming out tonight?
Yeah.
Coming out tonight is about not caring what other people think of you.
Yeah, not worrying about what other people think. So things that Maia sees with her, herself and with it in and amongst other teenagers, of things that people are concerned about, or things that stop people from doing things and getting on and being happy and content. So she's picked the themes, and we try and stick to that as much as we can with what's in the box.
We've got mirrors this time, and
some lovely what are those things you've got for the mirrors?
Stickers.
They're like stickers that go on the mirror that says, what does it say? You are enough. And it's about, because the theme is very much around what other people think. So just nice little things like that are the topic. And then we'll write together. Somebody who's a writer and a poet has created a lovely little poem for her aimed at teenagers about worrying what others think of you. So we're going to get that printed off on a nice card. And then we'll just give some hints and tips, won't we, together around not worrying what other people think, and that what other people think of you is none of your business.
That is so important. I tell you, we all adults can do a little bit with that as well. It's just not, I think it's not just for teenagers, is it?
Not at all.
We all keep going around doing things, just trying to agree with what we think other people think, because that's the thing, that we don't really know what they think. We make it up that we know. So I'm gonna obviously open it already. That's why. So it's been very loved and cherished. So I've got the always be kind to yourself, and you open it up, and now it's a little bit of a mess. It wasn't like this. It was a lot nicer. It came in, and it was you have lots of lots of tissue paper with a sticker, and then woo, there we go. I feel like kind of a YouTuber unboxing now. So I've got the big 3 things to do today: no more, no less, to-do list, designed by Angela Chick. And so that's the really beautiful. It's like you can do your little things. And then on the back it says 100 tear of sheets to help you get things done, 3 things to do, no more, no less. So I guess how will you reward yourself on the date? So this is a beautiful thing. And why did you think this was a good idea, for teenagers? Is that a good question? Does that make sense?
They can think of 3. They can think of 3 things that they want to do. And after I'd sent them out, I got 2 or 3 people sending me pictures of their kids writing the things in of what they wanted to do, and so it was just they could write down what they wanted. Yeah,
we liked the idea of that pad. Is that, well, I think teenagers love stationery. I love stationery, and I'm not a teenager, but and then this idea of little lists, and because it was again about overthinking, we were trying to kind of give the impression with everything that 3 things is enough in a day. In fact, less than that is enough, and not overcomplicating things, and not writing massive big lists of all the things we should do today. And we liked the idea where it says then it's a reward. And the lady that does the illustrations is wonderful. I think, what's the next one in this box that she's done?
There's another pad, and there's a card to send to a friend.
Doesn't it say write down your worries and then
I don't
throw them in the bin or something like that? Anyway, she's a massive advocate for mental health, the lady, and struggles with her own mental health, and so her illustrations are always have that sort of well-being aspect in mind, which is why we chose her, didn't we? And we've had a lot of things off her, because I think in there was a badge, wasn't there, in the first one, so you make the world a brighter place. I think we just loved her. Yeah, she makes those as well, and we just loved the idea.
Look, how cute is that?
Yeah.
That is so nice.
Yeah,
you make the world a brighter place.
Yeah. And
So,
this month now we're she's going to do some bespoke, start doing some bespoke stuff for us now as well. So hopefully, I think she'll appear in every box, won't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've got this little, oh, this is so cute.
That's from the other teenager, isn't it?
That's from the other teenager. Let me just, so people can actually smell it. Okay, go smell it because it's so nice. Nice. So yummy, you want to eat it, but you don't eat that one.
No, definitely don't.
What is this? Tell us what this is.
A flower.
It's a beautiful flower. It's a bath bomb, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bath bomb. You pop it in your bath, make it smell nice.
Like we girls like a bath, don't we?
We do. And it's because a lot of the things that I will look for that are clearly not that cool, you know, that Maia's very fussy about the style of her box, how it looks, and that, you know, sometimes I'll go, oh, what about this idea? And I'll Google things and I'll show her and she'll be like, thanks, Mum, but no.
It was highly approved by my 17-year-old daughter. So I have to say, Maia, you did it really well.
Have you not eaten that yet?
No, because I saved it from when we're going to be together. So, you know, and then I have to get a knife and I will have to cut it in half. But it's we'll see how we deal with it. So who doesn't like chocolate? Come on, like, you know, like talking from the principles, we shouldn't really say it comes from the chocolate, but you know,
but it does.
But a little bit. They're going to make an exception with it for this one. Yummy, yummy, yummy chocolate. And there's a cohesive thing about the box that is beautiful. It's as Maia, you have a really good eye for things, and obviously you know what teenagers like. You guys now used to ordering things online, and they coming around, and you order your clothes and things and makeup, and so it's very in tune with that. Obviously.
Everybody needs a face mask. Oh yeah, we're trying to, well, Maia is trying to have little themes running through each box, but having things that are slightly different, but there'll always be something like that's a bit self-care, always a little something that's edible, some stationery.
So this is a calming sheet mask. So for sensitive skin, and the products are really good and well thought about. So with soothing aloe vera and green tea, suitable for vegans, dermatologically tested. So that's another thing that I think is very thoughtful of you, that you've been just not chucking things in a box. Like you really thought through every single item. And it's all very nice and tactile, and it's got a lovely smell, you know. So it's we like that. Yeah, we like that. And here are the beautiful cards. Look at that. So what's the story in Ballymore? I will say when my daughter was little. So look, these beautiful cards, and they have little stories at the back.
Yeah. They are, they're actually from a pack of cards that I created a little while ago, called Insight Cards. And all they are was, I found a lot of people would want to read books, but because I was at the time dealing with lots of people who suffered with quite severe anxiety, people would often struggle to read books. And so I just came up with the idea of doing little bite-sized things on a card that's a quote and then a little bit of an explanation as to my own insights along the way on the back. And we use these together as a family. Did think about doing a children's pack, but to be honest, when you read and Maia's got a card in here that she did herself, and we just thought they'd be nice to, you know, to pop a couple in the box for just at random, so everyone will have different ones. But again, just little snippets of, we kind of trusted to the universe that people would get the right cards for them in the box.
That is very good. We got one that says, the future is unknown, uncertain and unpredictable, yet we still insist on overthinking our way into it. We do that, don't we?
We do.
Like, so I guess that's a good way of saying, and if I'm not going to read the whole thing at the back, but so you guys get really curious about what it says here. Okay, we're gonna have to get the box. And the other one that we got says, if we really understood what happens when we send fear messages to our brain, that itself would hugely reduce the fear. And one of the quotes that we usually use from Sydney Banks is the one when he said, if people will learn to not be afraid of their own experience, that alone will change the world. Which, for me, I think that's sort of like the same idea. Yeah. That so how did these work in your life for you, for like both of you?
Well, we've kind of done it where just before bed, so should we just pick a card out, would you say? And just, I think sometimes I mean, Maia will know what's on every single one of these because she's my proofreader, she's my tester, she's my, she gets very enthusiastic and involved in all of my stuff as well, don't you? So, and I think sometimes just, she likes, when I do lives on Facebook or Instagram and things like that, if I'm ever pulling a card, she'll always shout, if she'll hear me and she'll shout, Mum, let me pull the card, and she'll get, so I think we just when we see them, we'll just pick one out at random, won't we? And I think, you know, one of the things that I've learned through doing these cards and trying to put my own insights into words in the hope that they help other people is, what I've realized with younger people is that Maia seems to pick it up very quickly. Probably again because she's not got so many conditioned beliefs, I suppose. And I think just because they're bite size, that it's just easier, isn't it? To, because I don't think you've never read my book, have you? No, she's not read my book. Quite an easy read though. It's quite.
I hear you talking about it every day.
She hears me talking every day, yeah. So, Mum, I'm going to do your job, and sometimes she'll say to me, I think I could actually do your job already, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your calls, just take over and answer people's questions.
Yeah, you probably could. And she's very good when I'm getting stressed at going, Mum, remember what thoughts create feelings. You're overthinking it. And like, go away, smarty pants. I'm in a mood and I'm staying in a mood and I'm allowed. I want to be. So yeah, I think it's that. And Maia's kind of ended up being the person that will probably, you know, quite often help friends rationalize when they're fearful and panicky. Because one of the first things I'll do with working with any young people with anxiety is explain to them how fight or flight works, the lizard brain, the messages we send to the brain. Because I know even for me as an adult, when I was having so many panic attacks, you know, it was fear of the anxiety that was so crippling. And I just misunderstood, even as a trained psychotherapist, I still massively misunderstood what it meant to be human. And you know, and again, we're very open. She knows all my history. She knows I was hospitalized before she was born with anxiety and panic. And for us, it's just a very normalized topic of conversation, in that you know, it's okay to be stressed or be overwhelmed. And actually, the more okay with it we are, the less likely it is to happen, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you think Mum's still pretty stressy, or?
No, not really.
I've got a net from behind.
And I mean, we don't know what it is like when you sort of like when, you know, this finishes and you like, your relationship is beautiful, and it shows, you know, that what this understanding does to how we connect with the people we love and the people that are around in our lives. And I have a touch wood. We have a really beautiful relationship with my daughter, and that's the thing. It's just I learned to see her as who she is, not a part of me, or like you know, I stopped being so bossy, or just, you know, understanding that she's got so much wisdom in her, and sometimes I just want her to do things so I don't suffer. Because if I see her worrying or suffering, I just want to stop that, because I don't want to suffer. And I need to understand that she, you know, she's got tons of resilience, and she can go through things. And so you guys teach us, you know, if you're open to this. And also in my case, as your mom, you know, I still have sometimes panic attacks, and my daughter also has them, but we have learned since again, since she was very young, to be honest and say, like, this is okay. It just looks very scary, but and when you're having a panic attack, there's no logic to it. Nobody can come and tell you, oh, it's just your thinking, or don't worry, nothing's going on, and you just feel like you're gonna die right there, right then. And you know, like, pretty much straight away, since we met with Wayne, I have to explain, look, this could happen. I used to have like at least 10 or more or less panic attacks per day. Now I very rarely have one.
It's quite rare, yeah. And I think for me, when Carolina was having the panic attacks, I would automatically try and help and stop them and fix them, and you know, but she said, you know, when she came out of one panic attack, she said to me, you know what, they look scary, I know, but I'm okay. I just need that time just to kind of come out of it myself. And because what I tend to do is I tend to just want to kind of hold her and kind of comfort her. And she said sometimes that's kind of more, I wouldn't say damaging, but it's more kind of it doesn't help.
Yeah, it can be a little bit disempowering, can't it?
Yeah.
Also, if I feel that I can't, because one of the things how you're hyperventilating,
yeah,
and you feel that, you know, where you can get enough oxygen, but you are actually getting too much. So and if somebody comes and tries to hug you, you feel that you can't really, and you can't explain what's going on. So it's but it's a complete different life when you can have things like this and be comfortable in the knowing that you're not broken, you're not crazy, you don't need to be ashamed of that.
And that's why I think it's so important to be open with your children, because as soon as you open that conversation, for me, it opens a can of worms of which you can continuously teach and explore together and learn from each other. And I always laugh about one of the first times I remember being able to kind of teach something about the three principles to Maia. You might not even remember this. We were at a theme park. Do you remember we were going on a roller coaster with your friend, and you just started high school? And we were in the queue, And the whole way around the queue, she kept saying, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. Mum, I'm going to die. Mum, am I going to die on this? Am I going to die? Like literally the whole queue. And we were in the queue for 45 minutes. And I gave her so many opportunities to like, we don't need to go on this. If you're really that overwhelmed, no, I'm going on it, but am I going to die? Am I going to die? And I remember we sat in, and I'm telling her all along in the queue, yeah. And then she's like, I'm feeling a bit hot and sweaty. And I'm like, yeah, that's because you're telling your brain you're in danger, because you're telling it you're going to die. And actually it's not true. It's, but you're believing it. And we got, I'll never forget, she sat behind me. I'm in front, her and a friend, and we're just about to go off on the ride. She said, Mum, is it even normal for me to feel like I'm going to pass out right now? And I'm like, oh my goodness me. I'm thinking, I'm like, yes, because you've worked yourself up to thinking you're going to die. So no wonder you feel like that. And in my head, one part of me is going, she's okay, it's fine. She's just worked herself up. And the other part is going, as an anxious parent, is going, oh my goodness, what if she passes out? And we're mid, roller coaster. But then as soon as we went off, as you can imagine, straight back on. Let's go on it again. So then, but they're the type of, we don't have to teach children how human nature works when we're having panic attacks and stressing. There's so many wonderful opportunities to just share. Isn't it fascinating how even in this ride now, we're not on it, and yet your palms are sweaty and you feel like you're going to die because you're telling yourself that. And there's just so many wonderful opportunities and what she does now is we'll start the conversation and she'll finish it. She's like, I know what I'm doing, and I know it's my thoughts, and I know this and I know that. It's like, yeah, but it's still uncomfortable, and that's fine. So she kind of, now she's more able to talk herself out of it. But you don't panic, do you? Not like I used to. I mean, I've not had panic attacks like that for many, many years. So she won't remember me actually having them because she was really little. But as a parent, there's then that guilt and that, oh my goodness, I'm not capable and terrible mother and all of that stuff. When actually, if there's any parents listening to this who are anxious, I was anxious all through my pregnancy. I was really anxious, and yet she's turned out, touch wood, so far, to be a wonderful, resilient, well-rounded human being. And for a long time, I beat myself up that she would be like me and it would be my fault. When actually, she could do a lot worse than be like me now, couldn't you? I don't think I'm that bad anymore.
So look what I've got here. I've got this wonderful one that is so pretty as well. So it says, no amount of worrying will change the outcome. It simply creates more discomfort. So no amount of worrying will change the outcome. It simply creates more discomfort. And I love the I guess this is one of the metaphors or one of the phrases you probably guys like to say, because it says that the little box of well-being. So it's your phrase. And I love the the example of the roller coaster, because it's at any given time, as this says, you can have a different experience, even if you are in a situation that seems the same situation. Like you're about to go on the roller coaster, 45 minutes of I'm gonna die, and then you go like, oh my gosh, I want to go again, because now it's become something that is actually fun and exciting.
Even within 2 minutes of a roller coaster, you can change from feeling like you want to pass out to feeling like, get me on there again. It's brilliant. And these are the things that I just think are great to highlight. And I think the things that we together try and capture to just pass on whatever we can to other teens. And Maia always picks out the bits that resonate with her, because at first so she picked out this and she's wrote this, and for me, because I'm like, give them this and share this and this, but she'll sometimes push me away and say, no mum, this is, and I trust her because she's a teenager, so she picks the things that you find helpful and useful, don't you, and to share with people. Very proud of her.
Yeah. Well, also, like, I don't know how many parents of teenagers are like, no, I trust her. Like she tells me this is not going to work, and I go, you know, you know, she's right. I'll go with that. Do you think that's quite cool, Maia?
Yeah. Well, yeah, there was one thing you gave me to like edit, and then I changed loads of stuff because I was like, and then you told me to keep it in, but I didn't understand it, so I just thought I'll take it out.
Yeah.
And then I wrote that, and like you changing it to more complicated words, and I just said leave it like that.
Mum was trying to show off, and like, you know, like, oh no, let's give extra, and she's so. I think that's what she's saying is, you know,
because when I wrote that one, she was like trying to change the big words,
make them
to big words.
Yeah, to bigger words. But what I think what we're finding is the reason young people seem to like them, and Maia's been getting some really lovely feedback, is because obviously they are created by a teenager, so she's speaking their language, I suppose, rather than speaking through your parents, which every single young person, whether they're anxious, overwhelmed, or whatever it is, knows they can, you know, more often than not can go speak to the parents, but they don't always want to be having those conversations with their parents. And to hear things from someone around the same age, I think it's particularly helpful, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Would you say children around your age, like your friends and stuff, do you guys talk about, you know, when you're anxious and things, or not?
Depends who it is, I think.
Okay.
I think the girls do. I don't think the boys do.
Okay. Yeah, and one of the things is, you know, we thought if we just created something that was just, you know, a booklet or information about well-being, then people might even feel a little bit embarrassed or ashamed ordering something like that, which is why it was Maia's idea, you know, in the beginning, to say, let's put things in it so it's not just, here you go, this is well-being, but let's put some nice treats in it as well. And, you know, and I think, again, her being a teenager, whereas because I'm an adult now and I'm kind of over being ashamed of my past, I'm kind of like, oh, it doesn't matter. But actually it does matter for younger people. They do.
And that's why I called it well-being instead of like anxiety or something.
Yeah, and she was saying about the well-being box, because for me, you know, using the word anxiety, people know exactly what it is, but she was saying that a lot of teenagers won't want to order a box that's got the word anxiety in it.
Yeah.
Kind of, you know, could potentially be a bit embarrassing or shameful. So it's much more about, you know, treats and nice things with a little bit of education thrown in without realizing. Secretly.
Yeah.
For me, I really like that quote, because I teach people to drive, and as they get closer to their test, they're worrying so much about how they're going to perform, what's going to happen if they do things wrong, this, that, the other. And even on test day, I'll start worrying about how they're going to do. Is the car going to come back with 4 wheels and a steering wheel and 2 mirrors? And yeah, for me, as you read that out and as you were talking about it, I was just like, I don't need to worry, because it's just going to create more discomfort and anxiety within me. And yeah, I'm kind of now thinking, okay, how can I create, or how can I incorporate something like that into kind of the lessons and kind of the test prep and things like that?
Yeah, which would be brilliant. You'll get really good results anyway. You'll get a lot more people passing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, because it says no amount of worrying will change the outcome. So if you are, I guess, this is what you were trying to put across, that sometimes we think it's useful to keep thinking about something and trying to sort out that problem in our heads and keep going and going and going.
It's like we practice for it, don't we? We practice for what it might be like. But actually, even with a panic attack, people practice in their heads. What will I do? What will it be like? And it's like you then creating that discomfort in advance, when, you know, that's just causing suffering now. And actually, you don't need to know, because your wisdom's going to guide you. You're going to know what to do, you know, whether that be go outside, have a glass of water, reach for help, whatever it is, you'll know what to do in that moment. I'd say that's one of the biggest things that you say to me. If something's happening that she might anticipate I'll stress about or something, or I'll get, what do you always say to me? She always says something like, there's nothing you can do about it. You can't change it.
I was doing it with one of my friends before we were having our injections, and they were sat there on a chair waiting for about 40 minutes at the back of the queue, and then one of the teachers said, we go and sit with them, and I was like sitting here thinking about it. It's not going to make the injection any worse or any better. So I just said, just go and do it now, because if you sat here stressing, it's just going to make it worse in your head when it's just...
Yeah, so they'd chosen to go last because they were scared, and actually you encouraged them to go to the front and get it over with, because you're just going to sit and worry, and it's not going to change anything. Yeah.
And that already creates a different world, doesn't it? Like anybody that starts saying that so won't change the outcome. And also it simply creates more discomfort, and that is a great example that we can sit there and make up a lot of stories of how horrible it's going to be, and how and what's going to happen then, and you know, and we all have examples that actually, but when it happened, we were like, oh really? You know.
You know, it's one of the funniest things that I went to have blood tests done a number of years ago, and the lady, I can't think of the name, there was an official name for a nurse that takes blood all day, I can't remember what it is, and she was taking my bloods, and I'm not fearful of having bloods taken, doesn't bother me. So I go in the room and I'm just there ready, you know, get my sleeve, and she said, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. She said, are you okay with needles? Yeah, I'm fine. Are you sure? I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. And she must have asked me another 3 times. And in the end, I said, I'm now starting to think, should I be worried? Is there something like different about, like, you keep asking me? And she just laughed and she said, oh, I've got a terrible phobia of needles and blood taking. And I said, what do you mean? How can you have a fear of needles if this is your job to take blood every day? She said, oh no, it's all right with other people, just myself. I was like, again, you know, I love like sharing examples of that. It's like, if that's not thought created, then, you know, I don't know what is, because she had decided that needles were scary and harmful for her, yet was completely fine to use them with other people all day, every day. And it's just fascinating, isn't it? And the things that we say. And again, I think that's what's lovely about having the conversation with your children. And one thing that I would say, I don't know whether I'm assuming you get this, but I get the impression that Maia realizes that it's not about, so that friend that didn't want to have the injection and was sat at the end of the queue, it's not about saying, come on, toughen up, just get it done, it's fine. It's about saying it's really okay that you feel terrible right now. You're going to get through it regardless, even if you feel really uncomfortable. And there's no point in us sitting for 45 minutes and doing that. And I think, I hope kind of that when we're talking about that, you know, it's like saying it's not about constantly feeling okay. It's all right to feel uncomfortable. It's normal. It's going to happen. But just being aware that when we feel like that, that it's coming from us, isn't it? He's gone quiet.
Yeah, and what I find when I ask my daughter is that they actually don't talk about their feelings. They don't share, like there's a whole culture of sort of like it's like wearing a mask pretty much. And funny enough, we're all like wearing masks, but like the makeup, the, you know, the hair has to be perfect. It's like if you're a YouTuber or stuff like that, like tons of hours learning on how to get your hair that way or the other way, or, you know, your eyebrows, your makeup, this is a huge, not that it didn't exist before, but I think because of the amount of info on videos and stuff that we have now, that it looks like everybody has to be perfect. And if you show any what looks like imperfections, like, which is just being a human being, you should be ashamed of that. So here in the UK, we see like we're having like a huge in a way, pandemic of problems with mental health with teenagers, and there's not enough resources, there's not enough mental health practitioners to work with them. They're at the schools, they have like huge waiting lists for teenagers to be able to talk to somebody. And also what we know is that when you have this understanding of the principles, things just work themselves in a way that you don't have to be doing like therapy for ages. It's like you just tap people to wake them up to their own wisdom. Is that and that's what I was so excited about these books, Maia, because that seems to be what you were putting across in this box. Is that right to say? Is that what do you think that is?
Yeah. What would you say? I was just thinking when you were talking then, why do you think that there's a lot of anxiety in people around your age? Do you think, what do you think?
I don't think it's people on social media, because it is seeing what other people look like, but then at the same time, it shouldn't really matter what they look like. It's what they think they should look like.
Yeah.
So
what do you think? Because you said to me before that you don't really care too much about what people think. I know you do sometimes. Yeah. We've got, in all honesty, you do, don't you? But generally, you get past it pretty quickly, don't you? And think, oh, sod it, I don't care. Why? So why do you think that is? What's the difference? Do you think maybe you or, for example, on TikTok, she'll do a silly TikTok, whereas there's friends that maybe will only do it if they look absolutely perfect in that moment, and they'll edit it and they'll move it. And whereas she's just like, oh, that's what you said to me. Your friends at school will say,
they'll all look at the same thing and everyone will go around saying, can I see it before you post it? And I'm just like, I don't care, because everyone's seen what I look like there's some people from school that are going to see it.
Yeah.
And not every time they see me I look like me,
the same. So it's that thing of, she's like, everyone's worrying, oh, can I see it before you post it? And she's just like, just post it, I don't need to see it, it's just me. What's but I think, I don't know, why do you think that is?
Because I learned from New York. Actually, I don't know who I learned it from, but it might have been you. You can't change what other people think of you, so there's no point in trying. You could do something that changed your hair because you think it looks better, and then the people who didn't like it before could now really like it, but the people who did like it might not. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Might not like it, so you're not going to have everyone to like you all the time.
Yeah. So what's the point in trying? Exactly.
Wish we could all say it like you. As clear, because what I find as well is that sometimes, like that nurse, is a lot easier to see it in other people. It's a lot easier to help other people, but more difficult when you're having that experience.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, why it's really good to have the conversations, because she will point out my blind spots and I will point out hers. Like, she's not afraid to say to me, but Mum, you have been moody, and and it's not really my fault that this has happened, or she will stand up to me in a very polite way, because she kind of takes it the other way sometimes, where she'll apologize, and you don't, nothing to apologize for, don't apologize. But it's that, being able to point out each other's blind spots really makes for a much more enjoyable household, to be honest, when you start to then have that freedom to go, you're frustrating me, and I know that it's me, my perception right now, but it is what it is. And it's kind of, it's nice to be able to have those conversations, particularly with your children, because we're not going to go through our lives without pissing each other off, are we, really?
And it's such a great thing to have, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Your experience that you have with my daughter it's a complete different experience that I've seen before, also because my parents separated when I was very young, and then I was 3, and then by 5 they already have other partners and they're remarried and whatever. So like we actually spend these 8 years and we don't live together yet, or like we, or we're still thinking about it. And but your relationship with her is, it's like your relationship with her.
It's kind of, I never kind of set out to kind of, okay, well, I'm with your mum now, that's how it's going to be. It was always kind of, for me, just to be there for her, and just to kind of be there, not as a couple, but as an individual.
Yeah.
Somebody else in her corner. Not that I need ever to be in her corner, because she can give as good as she gets. But yeah, the relationship we've got is just fantastic.
I've got to ask the question, have you taught her to drive?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
It's the plan that you'll teach her to drive.
Maybe. She wants to learn manual and I teach automatic, so.
Oh, okay.
She's got a lovely dad as well, so so I think dad wants to be the one to teach her to start with, and we'll see. But that's a great thing. Like we have a great relationship, but they have a great relationship. They have great banter, and sometimes they can even just talk to each other and whatever without me being in the middle. And it's their thing. Nobody's been imposed to the other person.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. I think it's kind of just, if I've never kind of tried to force the relationship, it's just happened naturally.
We don't need to, do you? That's the thing.
No, absolutely. Yeah. And as Carolina said, we've got great banter, and even with me with my disability, she'll turn around to me and say, I remember once we went to a like a drive-in movie theatre, and she said, so because you've got a disability, does that mean we get like front row? I was like, no. And it's just like, she doesn't care. She doesn't care about this, and neither do I. And I just find that really refreshing. I've known people that have kind of said something and then kind of thought about it again and been like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean any offense. I'm like, no, it's fine.
Yeah.
For me to get offended, it's really hard. And that's the thing. It's what I like about our relationship is just the freedom that we have, just to say whatever we're thinking or whatever we're feeling.
Yeah. Openness.
Yeah.
And then there's more stuff in this box. There's more, and this is only, as I understand, one of the boxes, because there's more. So we'll talk more about that. But it's got this. This for me is not only beautiful, it's a bit of a miracle, and I'm gonna tell you why. Not that I like a pink pen, I really do. But also, you're probably thinking, oh, she's easily pleased. But it was my friend, the grandson of the guy that invented the Viro. Okay? So the ball pen.
Yeah.
This little ball, that little ball that you could see there at the front. With this ink inside. Okay, it wasn't like that at the beginning, but so the guy is Argentinian, but it was Argentinian. It's called actually Vito, but we say Viro. And so I asked him, so how did he think of this? So his grandfather was playing with a dog, with a ball. Was throwing the ball, dog was bringing the ball, that's we know about that. Now, this is the beauty about having a fresh mind when we drop our own personal thinking, and we are in those states where we get just creative, or we have a great idea. Like people, sometimes they're in the shower, or they're driving, or they're just walking, or whatever. You don't have to go around doing that, but one of those moments where your personal thinking just drops, and you let wisdom come in. So he was throwing the ball, and the ball gets into a puddle, and it produces a line of water on the floor. Now, I have played with dogs, and I didn't come to this idea, okay? So he thought, if I could put ink somehow on top of a ball, and that ball will then produce lines, people would be able to write a lot more easily, because it was like ink, and you know, it was just it was a mess. Sometimes things will get all stained and you couldn't read what it said. So this was a revolution, not only a revolution, because also it became cheaper and cheaper for people to be able to access it and be able to learn to read and write.
Wow.
So this little thing that seems like a nothing, right, that now we can buy for like very little money, change the world. From this guy that just sat down playing with the dog, let wisdom come in. And that's usually what we point at, that we all have this possibility and this capacity. And if you think about it, the applications that this has had, from roll-on deodorants and I don't know, like, or you know, like some gloss and a lipstick and so many other things that then came after that.
Yeah.
And that's what we usually say, that the applications and the implications of people having more room to get creative, less amount of, you know, worrying and getting in that state of discomfort, because wisdom and creativity kicks in. That's why it makes so much sense to have this in this box. And
we knew all that, didn't we? You knew that. Maia knew. That's why she put the pen in. All of that story.
All of that, obviously. So Biro or Vira will be very, very pleased that this is in here. And we have, look, this is another really, oh, sorry, no, this is two different things. Notes, reach for the stars. I have this one in this box, which is also so pretty. I like the things. I think so. An invitation to get creative, and so what did you think about this one?
Why did you want notepads and things?
So people would write. Also, I just like I like notepads.
We like stationery. She likes stationery.
We love.
We're a bit like, we've got. My husband always says, "Don't buy any more pads." Like, we've got loads, but we're a bit the same, aren't they? We're like, I just don't think you can beat a nice, fresh new pad when you just. It's like the beginning of something, isn't it? It's like, ooh, what's going to be created in this pad? We just love it.
And it says reach for the stars, so you can actually write either all the great ideas that you have in the bath while you're using your bath bomb and you're putting your nice mask on. So now that Wayne's in the box, I'm not sure how much I'm going to be able to keep of these books, you know, because I'm going to find him in the bath with the bath bomb and the mask. Yeah. So this is beautiful, because then you can write all the beautiful ideas. Usually you say like, I was in the bath and then I got this idea.
Yeah.
So we need a waterproof version. There we go. And I've got this, the taxi metaphor. And would you like to tell us about this one?
I'm trying to think who originally I heard talk about the taxi metaphor. It was maybe Pransky, but I don't know. And it was one of the metaphors that Maia and I would share when she was a bit younger, and she would inevitably go to bed and start thinking about the day and worrying about certain things. And it just seemed to be one of the metaphors that really stuck in her head, because I remember you were quite young, and I remember coming to me and saying, I started worrying in bed, Mum, but I just thought about the taxis and I just waited for a nicer one to come. And do you remember saying that to me?
Maybe, I don't, not too sure.
So what's your, like, how do you find that one helpful?
Well, I did it because we read the box about overthinking, and then I rewrote it, like, because I feel like you've wrote it down. I don't know if you've wrote it down before, but I just remembered it because I like that one, and which, yeah, there's a few that I like more than the others, and I like it.
Seems like it's just one of them that's stuck in your head, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Where
I think it's easy to understand.
Yeah.
So that I wrote it in my own words, so that I wrote it how I would understand it if I was reading it.
Yeah.
So what is the taxi metaphor for people that don't know?
So it's about, you know, seeing that it's a bit different now with Ubers. So I think we're going to have to update the metaphor. But
yeah, well, like the taxis that drove by are like your thoughts, and you can get, so there's some bad thoughts and you've got good thoughts, and you can, when a taxi drives by, you can either stop it and get into it, or you can leave it. So if you get into a bad thought, and then you're just gonna, if you focus on it, you're gonna drive with it and you're gonna think about it for ages. Whereas you could just let it pass and get in the next one, which could be a good thought.
Yeah.
And even if you don't have a good thought at that time, it will just come. Yeah. As soon as you let the other one go away.
Yeah, but there's no space then for nicer thoughts if you're off in your taxi driving to the middle of nowhere. I think on one of these cards in my insight cards says something like, if you were going in the wrong direction in a taxi, you wouldn't just continue once you realised. You'd either stop and ask to get out, or you'd ask them to turn around and go the other way. And yet often with our thinking, it's like, oh, I'm in this train of thought now and it's really unhelpful, but yet we sometimes just forget that, oh, well, we can go in the other direction. It's like, it's quite easy.
And just let it pass by. Don't, like, that's what I get about it. Just let it pass, and then another good thought will come.
Yeah, because obviously there's like tons of thoughts we have at the same time. We just choose to pay attention to one of them or some of them, and then
giving them more energy when we're in the taxi, aren't we? We're really focusing on them, because again, I think one of the things we're talking about a bit more often now is the fact that actually there aren't good and bad thoughts. They're all pretty neutral until we give them value and energy. So that's kind of where we're going with it next.
Yeah, because again, we could start a fight with a thinking, can we? And it's like, oh, I shouldn't be thinking that, and then you make more thinking. I should be feeling that, and then and you very often say that to me. It's like, well, it's really more thinking about the same thought, like even telling yourself that, come on, Caroline, it's just a thought, get out of it, like, you know, trying to change your experience and getting out of it. So it's just knowing that there are other thoughts, and also sometimes you just need for the taxi to stop and get out of it, and then, you know, just be patient that sometimes you are in that taxi and you move to the next one as soon as you're ready. So I love this one. I really love that one. There's more. I'm so excited. Okay. So what if?
Oh yeah. Our lizard brain. What if?
What if?
This is the thing that I believe every single child should have explained to them and understand from as early as they can speak. Because a lot of, I don't know what you think, Maia, with people your age, but a lot of the anxiety can come from the fear of the physical symptoms and the discomfort, but the physical symptoms that are actually really normal given the messages you're sending to that part of your brain. And as uncomfortable as they feel, You know, do you think it would be true to say now, when if you feel a bit sick or you a bit clammy, or that you know what it is?
Yeah. And I used to, if I felt a bit ill in the morning or something before school, I'd think about it and I think, oh, I can't go into school because I don't want it to get worse. And I'd keep thinking about it, so I just make it get worse. If I go into school, the second I start talking to my friends or forget about it and stop thinking what's going to happen, it just goes.
Yeah. And so it's not as scary once you understand that when we've got adrenaline pumped around our body because we're telling our brain we're in danger, that can show up with a poorly tummy, feeling sick, shaky, hot, cold, whatever, that, you know, that it's not unsafe. Yes, it might not feel very nice, but it's not unsafe, and that it will pass very quickly. So we were really keen, both of us, to get that across to people, just a little bit of an insight into how that works.
Yeah. So it's also like like one of the things I found really inspiring is what if there is another experience? What if there is another way? What if there is a different world that what we're living in or we think there is? And we know a lot of teenagers may be living not in such a lovely company as Maia you are. Like that probably is something that you know as well. Like sometimes parents could be quite either not paying attention or aggressive or having arguments between them, or so the household may not be as nice environment as you guys are in, luckily, to, you know, also understanding this. So what if opens a possibility of thinking even you could be in a really harsh environment, but you can be in that really harsh environment and you can be in a good state of mind. You can be in a good feeling. You can reach for the stars. It doesn't matter where you're coming from. It doesn't matter what your background is. We also have a lot of the people from Beyond Recovery, and it's so nice to see that they managed to see in prison that the background, what their families were like, or what the neighborhood was like, didn't have to decide who they were. Not even being in prison or the past have to decide who they were going to be or who they truly are. So I love the what if.
When I was laughing when you started talking, because do you remember we went on a dog walk not long ago, and this is the kind of crazy thing she comes out with now, that she's, you know, she likes pushing the boundaries in terms of curiosity. And do you remember, you know what I'm going to say? Yeah. Go on then, what am I going to say?
I always think that squirrels, you might just think a squirrel just walks around, but I think squirrels have lives like us. I think squirrels have jobs. Squirrels.
She's saying there's squirrel schools, there's squirrel hospitals. Why? And I'm like laughing at her, and she's like, how do you know, Mum? How do you know that they don't? She's just, I just love the open-mindedness and the curiosity of, you know, it creates a lot of.
Because the squirrel was passing the car, and I said, Mum, that squirrel's going to work.
Yeah, she said that squirrel's in a rush, he's on his way to work. And we're like, what are you on about? She's like, how do you know there's not a whole world of squirrels doing exactly what we're doing in squirrel world? And, you know, it's that kind of open-minded and creativity that we have very light-hearted, laugh and joking conversations. But actually, as daft as it sounds, being able to have silly conversations about, is there a squirrel world? I think practicing expanding your mind and your imagination can be really helpful then to kind of be a bit more open-minded about our own existence. But I'm still not convinced that we've got squirrel hospitals and schools, but Maia tells me otherwise.
We don't know, but the what if is a great question, and I think you're onto something, Maia, because I probably know what I'm gonna say now. No, thank God he doesn't. That this is the freshness of the relationship when you start, you don't remember anything. So actually, it was a squirrel that let me come to the understanding that there was something about the 3 principles. It was a good idea to look into it. And this is how it was. I signed up with a friend, my dear best friend, for a course with Ian Watson, because I was interested in doing homeopathy. And he was doing other stuff, and this guy in brilliant mind knows tons of things. I have only listened to his recordings or watched videos, but I have never been in person to be able to do something with him. So he's doing some well-being or other course. I didn't even read the title. She says, oh, he's going to do this at Regent's Park in London. I'm like, oh, I'm in. We sign up. For me, at that point, it was a weekend and it was a lot of money for what I was earning. But I didn't think twice, just thought, oh, I see Ian Watson, I'm going. It's like, some super rock star that, I'm going. So we go, and it was Saturday and Sunday. Saturday morning, we sat down. He says, well, this is what I'm going to talk about. Explain something about the principles. And I go, and he's like, well, if you got it, you can leave. You don't need to come back to the rest of the workshop for the rest of the weekend. But I pretty much repeating myself in different ways for the rest of the weekend. And I thought, this is so stupid. This is just so ridiculous. It makes absolute no sense. This poor man obviously has lost his marbles. He was great. Now he's having some middle life crisis, obviously. And my friend is like, oh, this is the Holy Grail. This is incredible. This explains everything. I'm just not seeing it. I'm like, so come Saturday night, and I'm not only not seeing it, I'm furious. I'm now like, I spent all this money and it makes no sense. And what a waste of time. And so Sunday morning, I'm in this state of like, really, I don't want to be rude, but I'm going to sort of finish the day because, because when he does something else, I want to be able to come back and, when he gets out of this silliness that he's doing. So last break of the day, we go out for a walk with my friend, and I said, like, I can't see how this will work in real life. It's just too good to be true. And I had some nuts in my pocket, and I'm eating these nuts and then sort of nibbling on them. And there's a squirrel, and this squirrel that obviously didn't know me from the school of the principles that Maia talks about of squirrels, decides to climbs my leg, looks at me, I look at it, and I just give them this almond, and goes down, that's the thing, comes up again, looks at me, I put my hand in my pocket, goes down, and then realizes that the nuts are in my pocket, gets into the pocket, starts helping itself, goes down, and again and again and again. This was about, I don't know, 10, 12, 15 times, until there was a point I decided to record it because I couldn't believe it. And I'm overwhelmed about the trust of this little animal, and how it gets so comfortable and coming on top of my leg and going down and being there with us. And my friend says, well, maybe it's about having trust. Maybe it's about trusting. And boom, something in me opened up. So I have to say, really, the proper teacher I had was the squirrel. So
what do you think that squirrel's job was, Maia? Where does that squirrel fit within the squirrel society?
Maybe it's your job.
Might be a therapist, yeah, maybe coach or a therapist.
Yes.
Luckily, he was on duty that day.
Yeah. So, like if if we're all made out of the same wisdom, so it makes sense that squirrels are in the same boat. They probably understand this a lot more easier than it took me to come to understand anything. So thank you so much. I know it's Friday and you've given us tons of time. It's so nice to have you here. You're wonderful. So people can have these on other different boxes. They can have a subscription. How does it work?
We've not done it as a subscription yet because, again, Mum's limiting beliefs were like, let's just test them out first. But I think Maia's plan is that there is subscription every couple of months. But at the moment, we're just doing it manually. So the first box is the one that you've got on overthinking. This next one is
what people think of you.
Worrying about what other people think of you. And that's going to go out for sale in probably tonight, actually. But it won't get posted out for another 10 days or so. And she's got about 60 people on her wait list waiting.
Oh, now it's 61 because I'll be there. And
Absolutely.
This is exclusive. It's an exclusive that we have. Yay!
We'll have about 40 or so left to sell, and then we'll give it another couple of months and come up with another theme and create that. And partly the reason we're doing it every other month is because I want her to still do well in school, and even though I think she's going to do very well for herself as a young entrepreneur, education is important. So we need a bit more time in between.
It takes too long for all the stuff to go on to do it every month.
Yeah, and there is a fair amount of research and writing and stuff that goes into it. So we don't want to jeopardize the quality of the content and things just for the sake of getting them out quicker. So we're sticking to.
This one's been a bit of a gap, but they should be getting smaller, like every 2 months.
Yeah, it should be every 2 months. Yeah, she had tonsillitis for 3 weeks, so we've lost 3 weeks.
Oh,
yeah.
You feeling better now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely getting better. She's not 100% yet, are you? But she's getting better.
Oh, thank you for being here. That's so sweet. And yeah, obviously it's this printing and getting the right thing and getting the right paper again, getting the right printing, and that they all look the same, and the colors are beautiful, and as I say, it's very textile as well. It's very nice to the touch. Like this has a complete different feeling. Like this is more rough in a way, and this one is like really shiny and glossy. It's really sweet and lovely. And again, so you have like different sort of styles, and you can put them around your room and stuff like that. So it's a lot for a lot of work and a lot of thought behind it, which I think is at a very reasonable price. Because being the mom of a teenager, I spend a lot of money on things that that don't go this far. So well done, you guys, and we are huge fans. We love it.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes. And do you think that because I can see do you have more girls getting the box?
Yeah, I think we only have we sold 80 last time, and I think we had 4 boys.
Yeah, there was probably only about 4 boys, but we realised in the pictures and the advertising it looked very girly. We also had one that was to somebody that's transgender, so that was a big consideration of
we're changing all the stuff in the boys' boxes. We put different.
Yeah, we've added this time onto the order if it's for a boy, a girl, or what was the third one? So I can't remember how we've worded it, but for people that don't identify, so that people can, if they want one for boys, that they can. Yeah,
that's really nice. Yeah, I don't know, like these days, I don't have a boy, so
we had a lot of had adults as well saying that they liked it for adults. So I said to Maia, oh, maybe I should do one for adults. No. And she was like, no, I'm not allowed.
This is teen for teens. That's what it is. And so it's really lovely. And what we're going to do also is we're going to encourage people to get creative and give you ideas if they have any ideas. So
Great.
if there are young men out there that want a box and they think, well, I would like it if it had
Yeah.
this or that or the other, then they can either put some comments here or they can directly tell you. So where can they find you?
On Instagram, or the Little Box of Wellbeing.
Yeah. The Little Box of Wellbeing on Instagram, or you can find her on, at the moment, she's doing things just via my website until she gets her own website, which I think is the plan soon, isn't it? Which is just sarietaylor.com. You can message us.
Box of Wellbeing.
Yeah, there's a tab for the Little Box of Wellbeing. So yeah, but she's put things on her stories before on Instagram of let me know what you'd like to see in the boxes, because it's always good to get ideas.
Yeah, and I guess this at the moment in the UK.
Yeah.
At the moment, yeah.
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 So if you're not in the UK, you're gonna have to wait a little bit until
we sort out how we're going to conquer the world with the Little Box of Wellbeing.
Yeah. Until the whole squirrels decide to come and join the forces. And
squirrels, deliver it. Squirrels are going to post them.
Yeah.
Because I guess you guys have to even fold these boxes into a box, don't you? Yeah. And then post it and be sure that it goes to the right place, to the right person. So it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is a lot of work. But Maia and her granny, I've got a very efficient production line in place.
Takes over.
Right.
Yeah, it does. It takes over the house, but never mind. In fact, I'm sat here now, and on the floor there's boxes and boxes. What have we got here?
Lip balms.
Lip balms. The next ones. Yeah.
Oh.
So they end up everywhere, but never mind. It's all for a good cause.
I sat here and then I realized that we had everything set, because if you look around here, it's like tons of things around. So for me to get up, it's a bit of a task. And I said to Wayne, oh, I didn't get my lip gloss. What's just like that? So that'll be handy. When I get your next box, Maia, I will have that lip gloss right here, okay? And I'll tell everybody it came in that box. Will that be fair?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'm sure she.
Thank you so much. We're gonna put all the things that you said so people can find you. And so it's been an absolute pleasure.
It has.
And you're gonna have to ask everybody that is young and wants to learn how to drive, what would they like to see in this box?
Yep.
So so I'm pleased if there's any new developments and things, please let us know. We'd love to have you again in the future and see.
Yeah, anytime.
So next episode we're gonna have Krista Campbell. And Krista is one of the originals, as we may call them, that people that directly learn from Sydney Banks. And she's worked with a lot of children and on the education side. And she's wrote some beautiful things called My Guide Inside.
Yeah, we have those.
You have them. Yeah. So Krista is so sweet and lovely, and she's going to be with us next Wednesday at 7:30 p.m.
Oh,
so
definitely check in then. Yeah.
Yes. So come in and say hello, and then Krista will know beforehand who you are, because we'll also tell her, and and because I'm sure she's going to be very pleased with she probably knows about it, but in case she doesn't know, we'll tell her. So please join us then. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, my love.
Thank you.
And right, and we'll have now that chocolate for pudding, half each.
Enjoy.
Thank
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
you.